All right. So, heyo everyone. Once again, it's been a little while. Finals finally finished up for me last Thursday. So, for the past few days, I've just been grinding on working on this non-stop. I've just been going absolutely ham now that school's out and just working on it for hours on end. And as you might see, it may look a little bit different. And as you're going to see, I've added quite a lot since last time. So I hope this video doesn't end up being too long. I know my last video was super long, so I'm going to try my best to be as concise as possible with my update. But yeah, here we go. So first of all, as you can see, I started playing around with some of the environmental assets that I'm going to be using for this game. So for here, we have a particular dungeon-esque kind of area. It's I think it's going to be like a sort of crypt, as you can tell by death itself. And I just thought this environment was actually pretty cool because of all these cool things like these statues and these torches that illuminate the area, as well as some of the finer details such as the sand. And if you go upstairs, then it will lead to this particular area that God knows where it goes. But yeah, I just wanted to play around with it and get a good feel as to what I would be bound to expect within the world of my game. I can't wait to be able to do world building, but I still need to work out more of the gameplay system first before I can get to that. So, next, as you can see, the health, magic, and stamina bar are now completely rigged up. Uh, I finally added the stats into all the characters, so now there's an actual system for calculating damage done by weapons based on defense or damage multipliers, or detecting whether or not one has enough stamina or magic to do certain actions. And um, so like the health's completely rigged up too, though I can't really show you that right now because the enemies haven't been hooked up to have sort of any or the enemies haven't been hooked up to do any damage to a player yet. So I'm going to be working on, or I'm going to do that once I start working on enemy AI. But stamina and magic work. As you can see, if you swing your weapon, then you lose a certain amount of stamina. If you sprint, you'll gradually lose stamina over time, and if you run out of stamina, then you're sort of kicked out of the sprint phase, and then you um, will have to repress the sprint button again once you have a little bit more mana enough to be able to sprint. And yeah, and if you cast a spell, then that spell will also have a particular magic cost with it too, and um, I won't be showing you. I'll show you that a little bit later on. So yeah, all these weapons, all these spells have particular values and stats attached to them, and so before I show you all these different weapons and spells that I have, I wanted to first show you the framework that I had set up, because this is a sort of development vlog, so I wanted to show you my sort of thought process into making something like this. So as I said from the beginning, I wanted this game to center on the combat and all the sort of unique approaches that you can take based on the particular weapons slash spells you choose. So this in turn requires a variety of weapons slash spells to choose from in the first place in order to make this work. And so with all these different types of weapons and spells, and each one having different types of animations and stats and the like, needed to create a sort of database which would contain all this information um, regarding all these weapons and spells, and such as like I would need to retain which particular inputs or buttons that would map to a particular attack animation. I would need to uh, store the attack animations themselves as well as the cost and the damage values and even the weapon models themselves and where to be able to place them so that they can align to a character's hand. All of this, so with that in mind, I was able to create a system or I was able to create um, this database right here in the form of a scriptable object. A scriptable object is just basically this container of information. And so this container contains all of the information on each of the weapons and spells. And using this information, I was able to generate or create scripts that are able to take this scriptable object and extract the necessary information needed for particular weapons that I have. So being able to select which weapon you or like being able to select which weapon you have as well as what types of attacks and values or like attack values that you have is as simple as um, going into your inventory or your weapon slots and writing in the weapon ID of or writing the weapon name of whichever thing that you want, and then this name will fetch the ID, particular ID, and with that ID you will be able to extract or just you'll be able to create a weapon in which will have all that information attached to it, and so it's ready to use really easily. So instead of having to store all of those weapons into the game itself or in runtime, you can instead choose to only um, instantiate the particular weapons that you want to have out. So basically, all in all, this database and the system that I set up makes it really easy to implement new weapons and new spells. And so I now have the framework in which I can create as many as I would like. So the I'm only limited to the animations that I have and the weapon models I have, in both in which I feel like I have a sufficient amount to make at least a moderately sized variety of weapons slash spells to choose from. Uh, which is what which is hand in hand with the goal that I have for this project. And so or this game at least. So now I'm going to show you all these sorts of different weapons and spells and how you can cycle through them now and compared to last time where you're only stuck to one and then you had to exit the or I had to show you that you had to exit the game in order to change your animations that you had. So, as you see, right now I have the current sword that I had from the beginning. Now, if I were to press 1, this would switch into a different weapon, such as this greatsword right here. And now, this greatsword will have a different attacking animation, um, such as these different swings. And not only that, the stamina cost for this attack will reflect this weapon, and the amount of damage it does will reflect for this weapon as well. And not only that, but each weapon will have a particular two-handed stance that you can which will have its own set of animations as well, or attack animations as well, and its own damage values and its own stamina costs and the like. So uh, this this applies for each weapon, like I said. So this spear, it one-handed, it will do like a simple one-handed thrust, like that. But if you're to two-handed, then it will have a different sort of attacking animation, like this, and it will have its own attack values as well. So yeah, uh, this sets up the sort of versatile combat that I was trying to go for, and this applies to both hands as well. So if I were to switch out the shield with my with this great sword, then instead of blocking, it will now attack with your left hand with the animation that's unique to it, like this. And I just thought this was this was super duper cool to actually be able to implement. And so I'm going to show you the spells. So the way spells work is that you'll need a catalyst sort of weapon you'll need a catalyst weapon in order to use it. And this weapon will have its own its own attack animation like that. But its main purpose is to be able to use spells. So right here is a current spell that I have equipped. It's a fireball. So if I were to use the press the input that would cast a spell, wrong one, then it will cast it like that. It will trigger a casting animation as well as create some particles and then instantiate a projectile to use in order to attack them, like this. Um, and then as you can see, once if it hits something, then um, it will apply a burning effect, which is basically just particles of fire that will um, surround an enemy. So as you can see, my magic cost went down because of this, and now that it's empty, I can't cast it anymore. So if I'm gonna need to go back and oops, not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to refill my mana for a sec. So if I were to replace this back to 30, um, so I can just show you. But now if this cycling between spells also work as well. So if I wanted to use this, which is a sort of flamethrower kind of effect, then it will have a different kind of spell or like a different spell particle to cast, and it has its own kind of um, magic cost where it gradually goes down rather than the fireball, which will go down in set increments. And once it runs out, then I can't cast it anymore. And but yeah, so and it works for two hands as well, but I can't show you right now because I'm at an MP. But it works the same way. So um, and the blocking still works. So I'm gonna um, I froze the skeleton so he wouldn't move in place, so he wouldn't move and eventually face a wall like this giant right here. It's really annoying if I want to be able to parry. So I'll show you the parry still works and the execution as well. And yeah, that happens too. I there's uh this is the stuff I've been working on, and it's definitely been a lot more than last time. And I to me this is all just super exciting to come as far as this because I don't think I've seriously worked on something as ambitious as this until now, like ever in my life. But I still got ways to go. As you can see, there's this bug right here, and there's a lot of smaller things too that I still need to fix, as well as there's a bunch of bigger things I still need to add, such as combos for particular weapons, because as of right now, each input only has one attack animation associated with it, and there's no chaining, so I don't think it's as fun like that. Um, I also um also still need to write out a player inventory so that in game a player can select which weapons that they can cycle between such within their weapon slots. So like let's say I had an axe in my inventory, and but I don't have it currently equipped in this uh, these slots right here, then I would want to create an inventory so that I can essentially choose which ones that I want to have out, and that way once I switch to it, then it will actually be there and the animations will work, and it'll work as a weapon that I can actually use. And I also still need to add implement enemy AI that are capable of damaging me, so I can show you this reflection of like my HP going down too, as well as clean um, some more things up. But yeah, this is what I've had going on. Uh, I have officially a month for break, so I hope to be able to get some good work in by then. Anyways, thank you for watching. And I hope this was as cool to see as it was as cool as it was for me to make. Anyways, see you next time.